We are on a bikepacking adventure. This is the first bikepacking trip I've ever done. This is the first trip of any sort I've done on this bike. I got this bike about a week ago, and I've been putting together a little bikepacking kit for it. Bikepacking is basically bicycle touring mixed with backpacking. It's a way of going on multi-day bike trips, and basically instead of having the racks and the saddlebags, the bag is basically attached to the frame of the bike itself. And we'll go over all my gear more later on here. I just stopped in this park to take a little bit of a rest. I'm about 6 or 7 miles from home. I just headed straight west from Rexburg, and we're about to leave kind of the highway out here and go on some more remote roads. So gonna rest a little bit more here, and then we'll head back on the road. Oh, and by the way, this is an overnight adventure. I'm gonna be camping. All my gear is on the bike, and should be an interesting one. Hopefully I survive the night. I'm not entirely sure that it'll be comfortable, but I think I'll be able to survive. All right, it's about an hour and a half later, many miles down the road. I'm out on BLM land, and I'm gonna be camping somewhere among the dunes. These are sand dunes. At least that's the plan. I might end up camping out in the scrub before the dunes, but I think I'm going over to this group. I'm a bit concerned about these clouds behind me. Rain was not in the forecast. I didn't really plan for rain, so I'm hoping hoping it holds off. Well, it started raining. So the road has turned to complete sand. I need to go find a campsite away from the road here, but I'm gonna go down the road a little bit more and then leave it. But man, it is deep sand. It's impossible to ride through. Well guys, I found a campsite. I guess it's not really a campsite, it's just a little depression out here in the desert scrub. I'm not too far from one of the little side dirt roads in the area. I'm kind of just up and over a rise, so I can't see the road. I don't think people on the road could see me, but you can see the dunes behind me here. And I'm trying to decide whether I should abort this trip or not. It's 7:38. There's about an hour and 15 minutes of daylight left. I could just have Cassie, my wife, come and get me, put my bike in the car, and then get home and have a good meal tonight and sleep in a nice warm bed, because it's gonna be miserable here tonight. I already know, but oh man, you know what, let's just give it a shot. All right, let me show you some of the gear on my bike here. So the bike here is a Trek 820. I got it used for $115. I got a tune-up on it for $40, so I'm $155 into the bike itself. This is just a dry bag, this blue thing. It's just standard 10-liter dry bag. I have my sleeping bag in there. This frame bag, I made this yesterday, spent a few hours making it, and it's got my food in it, it's got tools and some just various items like a headlamp. And I also made this. This is basically a long, skinny dry bag that I've attached with a few straps here to the handlebars. In here is my sleeping system, my shelter, which is basically a bivy sack. And I also have like my jackets in here, and the stove is in here, and a couple other little small things. And then this is my trusty $15 Walmart chair that I've also strapped on there. Down here we have 4 liters of water. These are just standard $5 water bottle cages from Walmart that I have taped on to the fork using electrical tape. So that's basically my setup. As I said, I'm about $155 into the bike, and then maybe, I don't know, $50 into the other things. So like the tape and the bottles, and then the materials for these things that I made. I already had the materials, but it's probably about $50. So I'm about $200, maybe $220 into this whole shebang. Pot, cup, stove, and fuel, I think, are in here. Inflatable pillow, fleece jacket, little backpack, windscreen for the stove, waterproof jacket, and then here's the bivy sack, which is basically just like a waterproof sleeping bag cover. And that's what I'll be spending the night in tonight. And then I have this, which is like a mosquito mesh bivy sack to go inside of this waterproof one. And then this is my inflatable sleeping pad. Okay, so camp is more or less set up. This is my home for the night. Doesn't look like much, and it's not much, but hopefully it'll help me make it through the night. Oh, and one more thing about the gear that I have. I've also been wearing this backpack. It has only camera gear in it. Like the drone is in there. This camera has been in there while I've been riding. I wasn't able to fit everything inside the other bags, but let's see if we can get some dinner going before the rain comes. So as I said, this is the stove in here. I've got a pot and a mug and a lid. The little stove is in here, and a fuel canister. And links to all of these things are on the gear page on my website, suvrving.com/gear. The rain while I was biking didn't last for very long, and it wasn't very hard. I don't know what this is going to be like, this next wave. I hope it's mild. Or maybe it's not rain at all. Maybe it's just like a dust storm. I don't know. Stove. And for dinner, we have this. This is some Indian food. This is chana masala, which is basically chickpeas in curry. I took it out of the box it was in. It looked much nicer in the box, but I took it out to save space in my bag. So I'm gonna heat this up, and then I have some little naan bread pieces. So I'm gonna have a nice little Indian meal here for dinner. I'm gonna heat this up in the pot, and then just dip the bread into the chana masala, into the chickpea curry. There it is. And here is the finished product. I brought this little paper bowl from home too to put the curry in. And then I'm just gonna dip this in here and feast. And then for dessert, we've got some decadent chocolate chunk cookies from Walmart. Well, that was actually a surprisingly good dinner. Usually those pre-made Indian meals aren't very good. I always try them because Indian food is my favorite cuisine, but that one was actually pretty darn good. I'm happy. I'm gonna have to try a few others from that company. I just found it at the local grocery store here, so pretty happy with that. It's now 8:30, it's getting kind of dark. The rain luckily hasn't come yet, knock on wood. But I wanted to, I guess, give a little bit of backstory to this trip here. So this is my first ever bikepacking trip. I have gone bicycle touring once before. When I was living in Cambodia, a friend and I bought $20 single speed bikes, strapped our backpacks full of gear to the racks on the back of the bikes, and rode them across Cambodia. It was a ton of fun. I have a lot of fond memories of that, and I actually have a blog post that I wrote about it several years ago now, pretty soon after it happened, on a blog that I don't update anymore, but I'll put a link to that in the description if you want to read that. And so kind of in the back of my mind, I've been wanting to go on more multi-day bike adventures, and I've been wanting a bike. Cassie got a bike like a month ago, so I wanted to get a bike, so I've been keeping my eyes peeled for one on Facebook Marketplace. I found one, got this one, and decided, hey, now's a good time to go on some adventures with it. So this is the first of maybe several adventures this year, several bikepacking adventures. This is kind of just a trial run. I have several others planned that are a bit more grand and interesting. This is kind of just like a shakedown trip here, and I decided to ride out to the dunes here. These dunes, I think this is the largest dune field in Idaho, and these are called the St. Anthony Dunes. They go for like 20 miles, and they're really popular for like off-roading. Like you can ride your ATVs and your razors and your dirt bikes all over the dunes. My plan was to bike like right up next to the dunes and camp there tonight, like camp basically on sand at the foot of the dunes. But I kind of ran out of time, ran out of daylight, ran out of the ability to keep riding toward the dunes because that road just turned super sandy. It took me a few hours to ride out here. I think it was about 23 miles, something like that. So it'll be about 50 miles round trip for both days, today and tomorrow. That's a little explanation here. I'm gonna get in the sleeping bag now. It's getting colder and windier, so I'm just gonna kind of bed down for the night. Here's one last look at camp. Really not much to it. I'll see you guys in the morning. It's gonna be a rough night. Good morning. It's 6:30. I've been up since about 5:30 maybe. And I slept decently well. I slept pretty solidly. Like I didn't toss and turn too much. I got probably 6 hours of sleep, but yeah, it didn't rain, thankfully. I guess let's put away this stuff, put away the sleep stuff, and then kind of have a lazy breakfast, a leisurely breakfast, and then let's talk about our plans here. Just boiling some water for some morning hot chocolate. And then for breakfast, I have a peanut butter Nutella sandwich that Cassie made me, and she left a note on it. I ate about half of the sandwich yesterday on my way here. I was hungry and looking for something to sink my teeth into. It's a pretty sugary breakfast, but I'll take all the help I can get. I'm feeling a little bit groggy still. The hot chocolate tastes a bit like Indian food. So breakfast is over. Let's go check out the dunes. I think they're about 3/4 of a mile away. There are lots of these little mini cactus plants on the ground here that I need to watch out for. I've gotten a couple of them in my shoes so far, and it doesn't feel great. I like seeing these in the sand. This is where a plant has just been blown in all sorts of directions, all directions, and it's made a perfect circle by kind of digging its tip in the sand as it's being blown around. Well, we are back at camp. Everything is still in one piece, mostly. I'll get to that in a second. But we're gonna put all of these things back on the bike. I'll show you how all of that goes. The frame bag stays there. I don't take it off and put it back on, but these other bags, namely the long, skinny dry bag and the blue dry bag, those both come off. And then I guess let's just start with the easiest ones first. That's the water bottle. These just slide on in there. Let me just show you the little bit of a problem that we have here. So remember I showed you those little cactus plants earlier? Well, they have gotten the best of my tube here. So I'm going to just go ahead and remove these. And then I do have a pump. I'm hoping those were a slow enough leak, but I can just pump up the tire every, I don't know, even if I had to do it every half hour, I'd rather do that than replace the tube. But I do have a tube, a spare tube in here. The pump and the spare tube and the tools and everything are in there, so I probably will have to change the tube, but I'll wait to do that until I'm back on the main road and have some more level ground to do it on. Anyway, let's put the blue bag on. So basically we've rolled up the dry bag like you normally would. And now I'm just clipping this on around the seat post here. And it kind of stays by itself, but then I have a second strap that'll go around the dry bag and through the little rails under the seat here. In the future, I think I will make my own seat post bag. This one is just a bit, so it's kind of wide right here, and my thighs rub against it when I'm pedaling. It's not terrible, but it does happen a little bit, so, you know, not ideal. Good enough for this trip, but not something I'd want to keep on here for an extended trip, I don't think. Unless I can figure out a better way to do it. Okay, blue bag is on. Now for the black one. I've got 3 straps for this bag. There's one that's kind of attached to the bike, and then these 2 orange ones are just, these are just regular straps, just buckle straps. So first, let's center the bag here, and then do this center buckle, secure the center buckle. Probably have to retighten it, but that's fine. Let's do the orange ones. And here's 2. All right, that is solid. It's not going anywhere. Except I completely forgot about this. The chair goes on here too. Okay, there we go. And finally we'll put the food, what's left of it, back in the frame bag. Let's wheel this sucker back out to the road, hopefully avoiding any other little cactus plants, and see if we can pump up the tire, and if not, I guess we'll have to change it. Okay, as I said, option one, just to pump it up. I don't think that'll work though. I do have a spare tube, and here is my, my little pump. Well, that's about as good as it's gonna get, but I can hear the leak. Not good. So yeah, I'm gonna have to replace the tube, unfortunately. All right, guys, we did it. I think we're good to go. Let's hit the road. So I turned off of that main road that I was on. I'm trying to bike up this little side road, but it's really sandy. I guess I'll just push my bike to the end and then show you guys what's at the end. I'm sure a fat bike, a fat tired bike would do much better on this kind of thing, but that's not quite in the budget right now. Well, this is the last place that I wanted to check out and also show you guys. We're at this lake, just a little lake. I don't know if there are fish in here. I think it's more for watering cattle. There's some cows back over here. But it's still a pretty spot, and you can see part of the sand dunes over there. This would be a fun place to camp if the bugs weren't too bad. There's a little fire ring here. Got some nice shade from the trees. Beautiful. I think that just about does it, guys. From here, we're just gonna go straight home. I'll play you out with some scenic footage of the bike ride home, but I think I'm done filling you in on everything. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. Let me know what your favorite part was. Let me know if I should do other bike packing trips in the future, and I'll see you guys in the next one.